Okay. Wait a few minutes for people to pop in. Try to get try to see what the audio's doing. Ba, 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 ba. Oh. Oh, I see you have two viewers. Can viewers in chat let me know if my audio is good? Oh, good. Perfect. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, so while we're waiting for people to pop in here, I've got some basic tabs lined up and also uh, just kind of vibe for a little bit. So wait about 10 minutes. And we'll figure out what we're going to do from here. I also have a bunch of tabs on Games Workshop shenanigans and how I've been apparently tweaking the nose of the 40K crowd, which is always a good time. God, this is where I learned that Warhammer 40K people don't want to count. So this one right here. So I posted that the new art for the Space Marines. Let's see here. Yeah, so the Space Marine art for their Mark IVs, they had 5 fingers on one side of the gun, which is not how that works. If anybody's ever shot a gun before, that's like you don't pull the trigger with your thumb. Generally, that's not great. That's not a good way to do that. So I said the famous 6-fingered Marines. So everybody's like, "There's only 5 fingers," and it's like, and I had the amount of people I had to point out to. Good evening, Gavin. Hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, this whole experiment with the catalyst of the ghosts of Timkovichi, which is kind of a wordy title for a book. Um, it's very it's very silly that this is the thing that's motivating me to get back into live streaming and talking about this stuff. I think I'm going to try to commit to doing this. If not, reading a chapter or reading some excerpts from the Ghost of Timkovichi. I'm going to also just kind of go over other stuff. So um, yeah, so we'll wait about 6 more minutes and see if anybody else filters in. I'll kind of start going through tabs and then cover the basic stuff about who the ghost dogs are, what the world of Tim Cavici is, and why it's even relevant to proceedings. And then I'll just start riffing on this book. So we'll see how long we go. But yeah, the main thing is this is ridiculous. Nobody knows how to. It's like, isn't that the bottom of the bolter? Isn't that this? It's like, no, no, it's not. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Hate, hate, hate. There we go. I read the first chapter. And it's not encouraging that I've already read the first chapter and I've already found some bullshit that doesn't make any sense. So, okay. All right. So, whoop. There we go. There we go. That was bad. Yeah, it is Brian Young. That is true and very real. But it's like it's like even the prologue. It's really like it feels pretentious, it feels like it insists upon itself, you know. So I'm like, mm, mm, mm. That's it's not great. We're not off to a great start here, Mr. Young. So I'm gonna be, oh God, yeah, I forgot they did this. They did this to poor Cortana. They took Jennifer Hale, who's a very attractive young lady. She's not young anymore. Oh my God, she's like probably my age, and they just like gave her a jaw like a that you could fucking pound steel on. Look at that. Yeah, she was doing what's that guy clavicular who's doing meth and breaking his cheeks with a hammer. She was looks maxing while she was on Reach getting ready to get assigned to Master Chief. Uh, so oh God, I keep scrolling down and I keep finding like all these things that I've created with people and it's just making them mad. So this one. You know, I never played Kingdom Hearts, Gavin. I was like always like an FPS guy. Like when I was growing up, my games were Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Turok 1 and 2, because those games slapped. I didn't get 3 for whatever reason. I don't know why. Uh, Halo, Star Fox, Rogue Squadron, the original Rogue Squadron for the 64. Then I had this kind of like this weird dry spell where I didn't really have any system. So I'm just like, whatever. And then I got a PlayStation 2, and or no, it was PlayStation. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. I had the one with the Metal Gear Solid 2. That's the one that I had, and I played the hell out of that. And I did the equivalent of platinum it for the current day's terminology, but I was never like a action adventure guy. Like the whole thing with like I tried Adventures of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, but it just didn't click for me. And I looking back now, I wonder if it's just the absolutely fucking diabolical control scheme because of that using that three handled piece of crap that you had to use for the N64. And it was like it's like it had the thing, and then it had the four buttons, and then it had the other handle with the direction keys, and then it had the two shoulder buttons, and then it had the third trigger button. I'm just like, this thing clearly doesn't have enough buttons. I just can't work with this Nintendo. I need more fucking buttons and handles. I need this thing to look like an 8-point Chaos Star. Yeah. You say that I'm bitching about it, and as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I never once had like my hands never got tired, my hands never got crampy or anything like that. But then again, I was like in my teens back then, so now I got the sciatica, or whatever the hell's wrong with my hands, where it's they don't they don't move as fast, they don't maneuver as fast. But yeah, so but yeah, I went on this weird screed of rampaging against Games Workshop 11th edition because it's just everything wrong with wargaming right now. Where it's like oh you know they it's the bait and the switch, right? Because that's what they do. They say, hey, we're gonna make a game. We're gonna make this system. We're gonna make this work. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be the best thing ever. It's all singing, all dancing. Oh, you know those circular terrain objectives that people would just put in the middle of a goddamn empty street and just funnel you into a kill box. So there was just no point in having close combat. Well, now the new objectives they're rectangles. And you can place whatever terrain you wanted on them, as if you couldn't fucking do that originally. And then guess what? Guess what? We're going to see this edition, the same shit that we saw last edition, which is L-shaped MDF terrain on top of these fucking templates. And people just they didn't understand that. They're like they're not MDF. Those are going to be cardboard. It's like, bro, seriously, are we doing this right now? I also think it's really funny how enterprising um the 3D, the third party people are, because they immediately started to create templates. Yeah, could be steel, could be still crap. Yeah. So I saw people were already doing some third party places. I think I saw they were doing like clear plastic. They were like some sort of weird like Lexan, not Lexan. What is it? The like acrylic. They were like cut acrylic. Um, so it would look even more like shit. Yeah, somebody made something foldable. There's, I think I saw one where it was like they were actually like neoprene, which Daddy loves him some neoprene. I don't know why. That's just my favorite type of terrain now. It's just using the little and that stuff. And of course, the people are like that's not that expensive for what you get in the box. Oh, the $300 box that doesn't have any fucking terrain in it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah. StarCraft actually looks good. It's really funny looking at, and we can actually StarCraft TMG. They actually have the rules for to download for free, and it looks a lot like it's a lot like um whatchamacallit. It's a lot like no, Lexington 476. This is and Armageddon War 1, which was versus Angron, then 2, which was Gazgul number 1, then Armageddon 3, which was Gazgul number 2. This is Gazgul number 3, so this is a War for Armageddon number 4. So if you can keep track of that, because the first war nobody talks about because the Imperium basically tried to euthanize everybody on the planet and just imported a bunch of people. Yeah, no Steel Legion. I saw that and it was really funny. It was really funny because um, they did the Yark thing, right? They showed Yark off, and everybody was just like, they were just like, "Oh my god, Yark! It's amazing! He's back!" And everybody was like, "No Steel Legion." And then like 2 days later, you had these fucking back in the napkin, drawings um, for it, and it's like, yeah, yeah. Good luck spelling Gazgul's name because it's like GHAZGHKULL, something like that. It's just some stupid made up like some GW employee back in the late 90s, early 90s just was rolling their face back and forth across the keyboard. Oh yeah, they brought, yeah, Lady Yarrick, totally not the up and coming female Yarrick. Totes totes not the same thing, not at all. So, but they gave her a sick ride, so they got that working for her. So I don't know. Which is funny because that gave them an excuse to make that miniature $100. Meanwhile, Mantic is just like, yeah, yeah, we're gonna add some stuff that people have been adding to this game. The Halo Flashpoint game, um, which honestly I really like it. I just don't have any time anymore. Yeah, yeah. And then this was me. I don't know why. Um, yeah, Citadel of Confidence. Yeah, poor Rusty. Poor Rusty just coming onto my page to mauled about the current author's direction and catalyst, and it's like, bro, it's a weekend. What are you doing? This took me like 5 minutes to. This took me like 5 minutes to put together. So, well, here's the thing, Lexington, that you replace the gas mask infantry of the Armageddon Steel Legion with the more differenter gas mask infantry, which were the Death Corps of Krieg, and then you sprinkle in some Cadians for just a little seasoning. CGL delayed the Leopard class dropship from month to October, but that's CGL with anything. That's CGL. Period. We're waiting on. What are we waiting on? We're waiting on the next field manual after Mercenaries. We're still waiting on. Hey, Spaceman, what up, doe? We're still waiting on a bunch of source books. We're waiting on, I think, the next Force manual, whatever that's going to be. We got Snowblind. I think they said that's July. And then this is funny because they announced the new core box, which I posted a rant about that on my page this week because I was just so fucking irritated with the way that Games Workshop is going right now, or Catalyst is going, just in general, is because they're following the enshittification path, where it's like, you have a game of armored combat. That's a sexy name for a box. You're like, oh, what's this? Giant mech. It's beating this other mech to death with its own leg. That's awesome. And it's like you see the giant fighting robots, right? Yeah, they just call it. They want it to be a new edition. They're like, oh no, it's not a new edition. Everything's the same, but everything's different. But it's not a new edition. Don't call it that. It's not a new edition. It's a refinement of the previous edition, which is like, ugh. Yes, we will. I'm just kind of shooting the shit because I'm waiting for some more folks to show up. But if it's us, we marry few. I think we can probably get started properly. So here we have. Um, so first, the set dressing, right? Because this book is called Ghosts of Timkovichi. So where the hell is Timkovichi? Timkovichi is a system to at least one habitable world or construct as of June 3152 as an independent world in the hinterland. So um, basically it's where the old Jade Falcon occupation zone is, and it just kind of like, and after the Jade Falcon more or less like screwed off to up sticks tore ass towards Terra, um, they just kind of left this very token force behind, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's interesting. So mid 3142 Timkovichi. Jesus Christ, there's so many ads on this, and I don't have ad blocker on this browser. Fix that. Mid 3142, Timkovichi was attacked by a clan force of Jade Falcon and Hell's Horses under Melvina Haven. Kellhounds keep Hazen's forces tied up in the world, delaying her invasion of the Commonwealth and angering Genghis Khan. During the battle, elements of the 666th Mechanized Assault Cluster City Greywalk to punish locals for assisting. So basically, Hellhounds and hey, Kartoffel, how you doing, bro? Yeah, Romulan space. Yeah, exactly. So, um, basically, the Hell's Horses and the Jade Falcons got upsetty spaghetti, did many war crimes, such war crimes, much wow, and yeah, that's pretty much how interesting it is. So it's kind of a place where a lot of Kellhounds died. Oh, going back real, oh no, I'll revisit that. So I didn't know nothing about these Ghost Dog characters. So they were the Wolfhounds, the second company of the Kellhounds' second battalion. Manner through history bestowing individual battalions and even company their own nicknames and tactical specialties. Wolfhounds, here, let me blow this up. There we go. Oh, this is not. Oh, I gotta. There we go. I'm gonna share this tab instead. Jesus, these ads. This is aggressive. Um, so basically, they were named company of the Kellhounds, and same day that Ark Royal fell to Melvina Hayes and the rest of the Kellhounds were shattered. Unaware Wolfhound successfully completed a high-paying contract from the Leeward Commonwealth to defend Narcisse, the domed capital city of Karsvarn, by destroying a star of Clan Jade Falcon Raiders led by Star Commander Violet Ustone. Returning back to Galate on the 28th September, expecting another contract. Wolfhound's commander Hank Mallory instead received Priority 1 Eyes Only from Calendar Kel. Mallory revealed the Kellhounds were immediately disbanding in the face of Jade Falcon vendetta. I get them to the point that they had to immediately eliminate any visible tie to their units in their hopes to survive. The unit was promptly renamed the Ghost Dogs, inspired by Mallory's choice to rechristen their dropship as the infamous ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman. Oh boy. Oh guys. I don't I'm scared. I'm scared, fellas. Ghost Dogs accept a contract from a party in the Jorkos Combine to recover an asset from a shattered Starleague Battlemech factory in long abandoned Commonwealth world of Balkan. Did they have delicious doner kebab and whatnot, or did they remove kebab on the planet Balkan? I don't know. Long abandoned, he's a mix as a distraction. Lure pirate Barnson's Barnstormers, a way to liberate what turns out to be a lost tech-filled memory core. Jesus Christ, how many of these fucking Starleague factories are there? Like, I know that's a hook. I know that's a trope with Battletech, where it's like you stumble onto a planet and you kick over a rock, and all of a sudden you find a fucking fortress, a Castle Brian that everybody just memory hold and forgot about. And of course, there's always some primo loot in there. It's like, what? Okay. So this is a homebrew mercenary unit by the author, and they liberate a lost tech memory core. This is just fan fiction. Stop it. Stop it, Catalyst authors. This is just fan fiction. Okay. All right. Whew. Okay, deep breaths. So then they go to Solaris to take a contract, and they find an abjured clan ghost bear warrior, Bloodbear Hambash, and return to Remulac, where Frode had committed atrocities against its civilians during a pirate raid. Unable to simply fight their way out through any opposition and escape, Ghost Dogs favor a covert approach, infiltrating the jungle and ultimately sabotaging Bloodbear's mech and spiriting the unconscious warrior away in an ambulance. So that leaves us to, so what do we have here? So they've got 3 lances, Royal King Crab inside the Brian cache. Yeah, yo, my gamer, I heard you found a lost Starleague cache. Can I get that? Can I get that Atlas 2, my guy? Pass that shit here. Dropship support. So they're in a union called the Flying Dutchman, but it was called the Houndstooth. Okay. After their hurried conversion, lack of time, resource, and option, light gray and salmon pink that resembles the ghostly version of the Kellhound's livery is an upturned triangle reminiscent of the Kellhound insignia with a more German Shepherd themed canine with light gray and pink coloring. Where have I seen these colors before? I don't know. Pride Month, so maybe I've seen those colors before. I don't know. It's probably nothing. So, with that taken care of, we are going to, Ryan Reyes, what up, doe? So we're going to go to share this so you guys have something to Google at while we're doing this. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, we're ghosts. We're spooky ghosts. So we're going to call our ship the Flying Dutchman. guys, this is not good. This book. I read the. I'm. It's like I'm leaving myself the most awful surprises possible because what I'm doing is I'm only reading this chapter by chapter. I'm not, which is how you read a book. Duh. But yeah, I'm not. I'm not like reading through the whole book. I'm only reading it. Scooby. Row, Raggy. The critters are coming to get us. I'm waiting for one of these motherfuckers to bust out a comically large sandwich. Yeah, I don't know. Um, so, so in the prologue, you get this weird start uh, with a guy named Tom Frost. Not just Tom Frost, old Tom Frost. And I'm going to read this section just because is so goddamn pretentious. Because it sounds like somebody's trying to like. Have you ever written a character like just as a thought experiment or for like a short story or something like that? Um, uh, where it's like, yeah, this guy's the coolest dude in the room. He's super cool. He's out here and he plays guitar. Brian Young wrote that motherfucker. He wrote that's guy is in this book. And I don't know where he's at so far in this book. Like he's only appeared in the prologue so far, but it's not. I'm not excited. So, uh, old Tom Frost, which I'm sure is his Christian name. I'm sure that's not something that he just adopted. Old Tom Frost sat atop a hunk of ferrocrete in the middle of a ruined street that had been blown apart in the bombardments. Beside him was a small fire he'd started, in whose light and warmth he bathed in while plucking on the strings of his guitar. Haunted by the souls of 100,000 victims of the Jade Falcons, he found this was the best place to listen to their secrets while he worked out the kinks on a new ballad. So, first off, I think Brian Young did a really good job writing this character, an absolutely insufferable guitar bro that probably like you would see at a frat party, and like he's playing a guitar. Yeah, he's a Caballero. So no, he's just some dude. He's a journalist. He's a journalist. You know, like Brian Young. Brian Young, he used to work for the Huffington Post. Huffington Post is fake news, but Brian Young decided to pivot to writing BattleTech fiction. Um, so this guy's a journalist, but he also writes songs. No, he's not Johnny Silverhand. It would actually be kind of compelling if he was like a Johnny Silverhand-esque character. But so far, I'm not getting that vibe from this guy. He's just some asshole who's really likes playing guitar in a mass. Like, think about this. So, like, what this guy is doing, he's like, okay, I'm in a city and I need to get someplace quiet to create music and make a sad song. So that would be like it would be like going to yeah yeah Ryan Cortana looks maxing for days. Get mogged three guilty spark 343. Um I don't know if this old Tom Frost character, Gavin, is if he's actually a Kellhound. I think he's just some guy. So I don't. Like I said, I've read this in chapter one, nothing else. Next week, next Thursday, I'm going to try to read chapter two, or I'm going to try to read excerpts of chapter two, and just kind of like see where this goes. Uh, so so this guy's in a city that was leveled by the Jade Falcons, right? So he's like, "Yeah, bro, I'm such an artist. I'm gonna go." It's like hanging out in a graveyard to get your mojo to write a song. It's just like, dude, what are you doing? No, No, I don't. I'm not a musician by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know. I barely hum a tune, but so um, but yeah. So your setup is your first introduction to this book is this guy who references himself in his internal monologue and also in this book. The book references him, and in this guy's internal monologue, he calls himself Old Tom Frost, which is like, sure, dude, that's your real name. You're probably that dude that weirdly old guy that shows up at frat parties that where girls as soon as you see the chicks you bust out your guitar, and then the chicks that know what's going on they put like lids on their fucking drinks, right? Because you're a creep. So uh so he's sitting there, he's trying to get his mojo, and then all of a sudden, he sees a drop ship. And then he says, "Who the devil would want to come and disrupt the whispering ghost that spoke to him through his guitar strings? No one came to Greywalk anymore, not since the night of heartbroken howls." Nobody calls it that, dude. Shut up. Nobody calls it that. Only you call it that because you're so edgy. Ugh. So, and so yeah, exactly. So edgy. He's got white hair. He's described as having like long flowing white hair. So maybe he's trying to, I don't know what kind of vibe that would be. I was about to say Rob Halford, but he doesn't have any hair. When the dropship got closer, he knew exactly who would come and disturb this peace. The Fortress class dropship, a gray globe of death, bore the triangular black and red logo of the Kellhounds. They were the walking ghosts. Douche chills immediately. Ugh. Of course they would come. One part of Tom told him to run, that the Kellhounds wouldn't be pleased to see anyone. Spirits of revenge were always trigger happy, and old Tom Frost wasn't an unfriendly face, but they didn't know him from Adam either, not by sight. Oh, it's not just that this guy is a guitar player and he's really up his own ass, but he is also a journalist. He's fake news. He's going to do nothing but spread fake news across the hinterlands. That's what they do. You're fake news. Um, let's see. So he goes. So he goes out and basically gets roped up by the Kellhounds looking for him. Fuck it, I'm just going to read this like Trump because I think it's funny. Though Tom was no expert, he figured the tanks were Maxims, big and bulky, with some mean-looking missile launchers spreading from the top like death's rainmakers. They're the biggest missile launchers you've ever seen. Have you heard this? People say this. Have you heard this? It was hard to make out in the dark since the Kel colors were still black and red, but what else would it be? One came right up to him, skidding to a halt, and poured troops out of its backside like the runs. Mwah! The spirit of the poet. Such sublime writing. J.R.R. Tolkien, eat your fucking heart out. All right. So basically, he gets roped up. He gets kind of bundled up by these Kellhounds, and they ask him, like, he says, "I'm Tom Frost." And that's not your name. Your name is probably like Jim. "I'm Tom Frost. I work for the IPNW, and I'm just out here." She cut him off and stepped a little closer, raising that laser rifle up a little higher, like she might be looking to boil his brains out rather than his heart. "The what?" "The IPNW, the Interplanetary Newswire. Journo." He literally spells it Journo, Journo. Commentator, writer, a stringer. Dude, this is not your fucking LinkedIn. This is not your Instagram page. Nobody cares. You've got a gun pointed to your face, and you gotta be like, "Oh, I'm so interesting. I'm such a guitar player. It's so interesting." IPNW, the Interplanetary Newswire. They're fake news. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes you. It's a dying blog. Nothing but fake news. Also, there's no HPG network, so how the fuck is this guy getting his news out? It's a trooper pooper. Yeah. So, oh god, this guy. It's like I highlighted these sections because I'm just like, there's no way this got published. And then it's like I'm holding this book in my hand, and clearly somebody got published. Um, and, and she says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Truth be told, I was looking for some peace and quiet to write some songs. I'm a bit of a six-string samurai and was just plucking on the makings of a song in some peace and quiet. Nothing more peaceful than a town turned graveyard." Dude, come on. Come the hell on. Six-string samurai. I would have smacked him in the face, stole his guitar, and stomped on it right then and there if I was her. But I'm not. So, but yeah, so he gets picked up and he gets rolled up to the calendar Kel. So the thing that so it didn't even take us like news across the star, and he gets his message deleted exactly. Like, look, I gotta pay you to send this message out. Please make sure this gets to the news wire. Sure thing, buddy. I'll take your money. Um, so he meets her, and they talk a little bit, and turns out they're placing a plaque. So it says, it's getting closer, seeing it catch the twinkle in the lights of the dropship. It was definitely Pharaoh steel. And writing consisted of names, 100 or more. He didn't recognize hardly any of them, but he did make out the message carved at the base of the memorial plinth, loud and clear. Vengeance is owed. Ooh, so edgy. So he wouldn't. Yeah, I know. He's so cool. Oh my God, you play guitar? I love guitar. It's my favorite instrument. So Uh, tell them about this, she said. You're not sticking around to do it yourself? We'll be back. But we're leaving now for a larger mission, one that's going to mean a lot more to a lot of people, including those on Timkovichi. Her She ran her fingers across the name on the memorial. Evan Kell. My uncle died here in the bombardment. They deserve some recognition. Tom shook his head. Must be bittersweet for you to bring some closure, but see all the destruction after all this time. She nodded with a solemn, harsh silence that ran a reverent shiver down Tom's back. Ooh. After the long moment passed, she spoke to him. Tell the Falcons here we're coming for them. Tell everyone we're coming for them. Let me pause, dear viewers. Let me just pause for a second. You're telling me that you brought a fortress dropship loaded with infantry and mechs to a world with a scratch garrison of the Jade Falcon equivalent of old men and young boys, and you're just gonna fuck off? Like, bro, they're really bad for them. Yeah, I haven't found nothing. None of the bad spellings have like leapt out at me. Um, so I don't know. So far, so good. So Calendar Kell, she drops off this monument. She wastes a metric ass ton of fuel on this dropship to land, presuming there's no aerospace cover because they all fucked off with the Clan Jade Falcon to Terra, right? So she takes a fortress dropship, which is rare as rocking horse shit these days, generally. They drop off a fucking plaque in an empty city, tell some random dickhead, tell the Jade Falcons I'm coming for them. And then they just leave. Like, you know what would have meant a lot to the people of Timkovichi? If you detailed like two lances and curb stomp what little Jade Falcon presence is on the planet, because it's probably some is probably like a handful of mech warriors and some power armor. Like, really? What are we doing? I got calm. It's not good for my blood pressure. My doctor said I need to get my blood pressure down. I need to relax. Anyways, so then we get to part one, Long Shadows of the Past. Gambit Raven, thank you very much. It's really depressing that I'm your hero because I am an awful role model. That's really terrible. But anyways, thank you for your support. It really actually means quite a bit to me. I love you guys, everybody that's here, everybody that posts on my page, everybody that comments on my Facebook and my YouTube. It means a lot to me. This is great, and I've really enjoyed this as a creative outlet and giving something back to the BattleTech community. Hopefully, making some people laugh. So, anyways, Long Shadows of the Past, Part One. And it's got a journal entry, and it's from the Lost Journals of Evan Kell. Now, I've noticed this with companies, authors, whatever, that try to slip in some retcons. Thank you, Gambit Raven. I appreciate it. When they try to like slide in some retcons, they throw in these small references to famous figures in that universe, and then what they do is they're like, oh, this is a secret journal, or this is the guy's private journal, and this is the first time that we're hearing about it, and we're getting their thoughts and feelings and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, come on, dude, are we really? So that brings us to chapter one, Monkeys with Mechs. Sounds fucking racist if you ask me, but that's just me. 2 kilometers west of Bakersfield in Kirkcaldy hinterland and the hinterlands. So the planet is Kirkcaldy. They're 2 kilometers west of Bakersfield, and they're in the hinterlands, and that's 26 May 3152. So the general thing, what these guys are doing is they're trying to corral some. They're trying to flush out some falconers, some jade falcons that are kind of you know hiding out in this cavern network and launching like raids on the local populace, right? So they have a rough idea of where they're at. They're like in this cavern network, right? So what they're doing is they are herding triceratops-sized rhinos, basically this local megafauna, into a stampede into the caverns to either pin the falcons in place or flush them out. I'm going to say that one more time. They're going to use megafauna to try to flush these Jade Falcon raiders out of the cavern system. Now, it's not a terrible idea on the face of it if you've got like maybe if you don't have a company of infantry, if you don't have a mech company at your back, but he does. It's a mech company supported with infantry and transports. They're not even using cattle masters for it. They're just using this guy's using his wolfhound to kind of like try to literally he kicks this thing, kind of nudges it, and then finally and this kind of pissed me off because so he's like trying to get this thing to move, and all of a sudden, like his subordinate, her name is Ilsa, fires basically said she said, I know how to get this thing moving. Yeah, exactly. Animal abuse. So I know how to get this thing moving. This tree that this giant critter was mowing off of. She fires her laser at it and catches it on fire. And this guy is just like, dumbass, why are you setting the terrain on fire? That's going to cause a forest fire. So he stomps, he basically like quenches it with his, quenches the fire with his mech's hand just by grabbing it and kind of, getting rid of the lit part. And then he turns on his external speakers and he basically gives like a Okay, yeah. Can you read this with her in the background? Um, I'm not doing so. There's two things, and one thing I'm kind of depressed about is that I was advised against doing like a verbatim read of the book. Yeah, exactly, Jason. That's basically what this guy did. He hit him with he turned on his Mexic external speakers and said, rawhide, and this thing, eventually screwed off, right? So, um, so they're like, oh, okay, that's fine, whatever. And so the creature reared up onto its hind legs and huffed, giving an offended roaring trill before tear-assing away at top speed towards its companions. That's the way it's actually written, I swear to God. What did I tell you, sir? Ilsa said. I did that because I lit the tree up. So this Ilsa chick is she's either an idiot, she's either an asshole or she's an idiot. So, but one necessarily doesn't discount that she's the other. So again, the whole plan is that you have this cavern network with an unknown number of like pathways into it, but only a few pathways. Yeah, only a few pathways to actually get into these things that are big enough for these giant critters, right? And they found kind of the exit for this cavern. So if you know that these raiders are coming from a cave network with only a certain number of inlets and outlets that are big enough for mech activity, my question to you would be, okay, the Jade Falcons are basically trapped in this cave network when they're not kind of marauding, right? You know where the exit is, you know where the entrances are, you have infantry, you have presumably the ordnance to collapse all of those entrances. Why don't you just do that and just let the Jade Falcons smother? Like that's literally it. Like what was, or if they don't smother, they try to dig themselves out, and as they dig themselves out, just shoot them as they dig themselves out. Why are you fucking with the local megafauna to try to drive them in a certain direction? Like, okay, here, let's do here. Let me do Windows. Here we go. Share. Oh, so all right. So let's say you have you have okay, you have this area, right? And then you have so somewhere in here you have an inlet, you have an outlet, and then you have several inlets that are big enough for to funnel these critters into, right? So you have this. So this is what you have, right? Now, presuming that they just didn't know where these guys were realistically, because who would? So you say, okay, the raider struck here, struck here, struck here. So you triangulate where all these strikes were originating from, or what strikes hit where, and then you have kind of your search vector, right? And you find this convenient cave network that's just has big enough entrances for mech activity, and then they have a big enough entrance for other activity. Now, the unknown here is that internally you have a bunch of different pathways that don't actually kind of like don't actually go to where you think they should, and they're kind of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, right? So you have this, and you're like, okay, well, we don't necessarily know where the clans will go in here, right? But there is a limited number of them, and we can safely assume that whatever pathways that are in here are isolated from the outside because that's basically what the book is saying. Because the book says that is that hey, there is one cup, some inlets here that they know about, and then an outlet, right? So why don't you just dynamite? Why don't you just or ordnance use some ordnance, some sappers to close all these off, or you close off the entrances with the infantry, and then you have the mechs, create a, you have the mechs create like a line to enfilade the enemies as they come out. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we fucking with the native wildlife? Like, what are we doing? So, pardon me. So, there's nothing really more egregious than that, except they talk about how stupid these critters are and how smart they are for using these things and how they're trying to coordinate and flush the. Yeah, so here we go. Raven Davis's Raven Davis Raven. That's so Raven. Bravo Lance consisted of her. Oh, it is a she. Wolfhound she called Spot and a pair of Madcat threes piloted by the Chris's. Ruskin, and Koenig, and a rifleman piloted by Ari Simons. They were a crack team and an even better Lance. It made sense to let them take the point position at the cave entrance, since he had ordered the rest of the Ghost Dogs to set up the Jade Falcon's secret little exit for the plan. So again, yeah, exactly. But no. So here's the thing, Gambit. That leaves out the critters. That leaves out you can't have the cute megafauna in your wholesome Chungus story if you just act like you have a modicum of sense. Like you don't get to be a major in the Cowhounds by being this brain damaged. Like this is some room temperature IQ shit right here, right? Like this whole thing that I just did. It's like this is I don't get it. So um so he you know the cave exit was a full 2 clicks from the cave entrance. As far as their data suggested, the cave system was quite expansive, but there was only one path large enough for that. They're called trinos. TR let's see, how to spell this. TRHINO is because they have 3 horns like a triceratops, and they're big like a triceratops. Trinos. Uh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like are the Jade Falcons just stupid? Yeah, absolutely, Gambit. Um, Alpha and Charlie Lance is laid by Hank, headed to the disguised exit just in time to see the false rock wall explode open. What the hell? Rufo shouted. Hank couldn't quite see through the smoke and dust. Had the Falcons burst through the other side already? Maybe the Falcons were gone. Animals had burst through the other side already. When the dust settled, his warbook shrieked as though he needed to tell him what an Atlas sea looked like, dressed in sloppy Jade Falcon lemon and lime. He must have been drinking a Sprite during that part. He was. I can picture it. He's hunched over his little executive cuck desk, and he's hammering away. And he's like, I got. How do I describe? Yeah, exactly. Malvina was evil shit, and she was just like, yeah. Um, so the main thing is like so I can picture Brian Young just like hunched over his desk, his little desk, and his little writer's den, and he's like, "How do I describe it? How do I just? I don't just want to call them Jade Falcons, Jade Green, Yellow, because that's stupid." And then he picks up his fucking zero sugar Sprite. He takes a big hook out of it and he sets it down and he looks at it and goes, "Oh my god, I'm gonna call it lemon and lime." So Yeah, like, bro, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So that's the unfortunate, the good thing about this is the text is really big, and it's like I want to say it's like a 1.5 line spacing. So that first chapter was only like it's not very long actually. So I might start doing two at a time. But for right now, because that's the only those two chapters read. So far we've learned that the guys, yeah, lemon face. So so what we've learned is that the Jade Falcons are stupid. Uh, the Jade Falcons are, everybody in this book so far has been stupid. So yeah, exactly. Gotta get that page count up. So yeah, and the prologue, you have this too cool for school guitar hero type dude. I'm sorry, six string samurai. Blech, puh, puh, puh. So you have that guy, and he's just like he's literal who for the prologue for some reason. I think it's just something that fucking Brian Young wanted to put in there. I don't know why, but he did. So step one, we had that. And then step two, we had the fact that the Calhounds are just fucking morons. Instead of like employing like actual good military tactics, they're gonna go, Lamau, let's abuse some animals. Like, hey kids, it'd be cool? Animal abuse. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? Uh, so this is going to be a long, hard pull, I think, with this fucking book. I might have to start streaming twice a week to just so I can power through this piece of shit. Exactly. Yeah, Mookie. Yeah, we gotta call, we gotta call Clanner PETA on these guys. Yeah, I know. Well, Sean of Sarna is, he's, yeah, trying not to. If I speak, I will glow. He's not a he's he may not be he's not smart fella, but he's a fart smeller. um, but yeah, this is so far. Um, it's funny how retrospect works because I read this like I got out of work and I read the prologue and I read the first chapter and I'm like these aren't bad, and then like I got on stream here and I started applying a critical eye to it. Oh, I bet Sean hasn't thrown any dice in in a while because he keeps putting out the stupid terrible mechs articles. And it's like, bro, stop it. We know you don't play. We don't have to. You just please stop. You don't have to tell us that you don't play. So, um, but yeah, but it's funny how like getting a second glance and actually like critically analyzing so far this first chapter is like it's just not it's like it doesn't make any sense. The first like I used to read like oh what was that I thought it was being much making for Merc Unit until Red Ridge Rangers being a mega fan of John Wayne and he was call signed the Duke. Nice. Um yeah, no, yeah, but this is way worse. Because it's like it's like you start to apply a critical lens and then you look at oh this is going to bother me now here Sarna. I'm going back to Sarna for Gray Death Legion. What was that book? Dora Second Sky Rebellion. I'll look at the price of glory. The price of glory. That's what it was. Was it? No. No, that's the oh, it's the price of duty. That's what it was. No, that's not it. What the fuck? Trying to find. It's the one covering Grayson Carlisle's son, who kind of had to take over the the unit. Day of Heroes. That's what it was. God damn! Look at this. Look at this cover art. Oh my god, that's some Boris Vallejo right there. That's some absolute. No, Greatest Legion. That was the first novel that it was. Their very first. I think it might have been the first BattleTech novel written by William H. Keith. This one was written by Thomas Gressman, and this was actually really amazing because what they did is it's like you had this unit and they were attacked by the Free Sky, rebels. So they were doing all this stuff, and they were like, okay, how do we force maximize? And what they did is they loaded all their mechs onto rail cars on like this high speed like maglev, and basically shipped them around, the maglev, and the Free Sky guys couldn't find them, or they couldn't, they were just keep getting bound up or struck at from odd angles, and it's like that's actually really smart. Yeah, and repair it on the fly. And it's like, man, where was this level of critical thought when this guy was writing this book? Like the prologue should have started with the fucking fight. Like, hey, tell the people of Timkovichi we're here for him, and we're gonna do a lot more for a lot more people after we kick the living shit out of the 10 Jade Falcons that are on this planet, right? Like that's what you should have done to give that scene some more emotional weight and impact. But if he was going for emotional weight and impact, he wouldn't have included old Tom Frost, the fucking bard. Like old Tom Frost sounds like this was some sort of aborted D&D character. He's like, yeah, I'm multi-specking into I'm a bard, but I'm also multi-specking into rogue. And it's like, bro, what? Can't Dude, can you just play the game and not be weird about it for 1 second? Like, no, I'm multi-classing. And it's like, dude, just roll up another character. It's not that big of a deal. Fine, I'm doing that. And then he wrote his multi-spec bard into the prologue of this fucking book. It's just like damn, this is. I have no words. I have no words for that first part, and the fact that Calendar Kell didn't just tell our men, just like, yeah, just keep this guy locked up until we're done here, and tell him to hit the bricks afterwards and give him his fucking guitar back, But it's just USA, USA, find inner peace. So that's so far so bad with this book, and like I said, it's really interesting because I read what I read on the initially. I'm like, that's kind of it's not bad, and then I started as I started to kind of go through my highlight. I actually highlighted sections that I want to recount here, and it's yeah, it's bad. It's so bad, guys. This was not good, and to the person that donated the money for me to buy this author signed copy, I am so sorry. I wasted your money on this. I am so sorry. This is diabolically bad, but yeah. So yeah. So yeah, that's the prologue in chapter 1 of Ghosts of Timkovichi, which I'm sure we'll go back to Tim Cavici, and I'm sure there will be things that will be done. And I think it's interesting too that instead of just chapter 1, chapter 2, he's naming his chapters. Like the next chapter is chapter 2, The Devil Way Down in the Hole. That's what she said. What? What? I don't know. Um, oh my God, yeah, I should do. Um, yeah, that would actually not be a bad idea. That would actually be that's thank you, Gavin. That's actually a really sharp idea. I might have to start doing that. So this has been, the continuing misadventures of Brian Young trying not to write, young adult fiction, uh, challenge level impossible. um, but yeah, it's been a wild ride. So I think what I'm gonna do, and I think what I can commit to is uh doing a live stream for at least let's see how long I've been streaming here. About an hour and 10, hour and 20, and every Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I have both those nights open, generally speaking. And I can do more on different weeks. So it just kind of depends. But I'm definitely going to try to stream more now that I've kind of got the ecosystem to where I kind of need it to be or want it to be. Hopefully the audio is good. Hopefully there's no delay or lag for it. So I appreciate you guys showing up. But yeah, I'm just kind of going over this kind of the general news as we're coming down. We're coming down from the religious experience that was the ghosts of Timkovichi. So we had that, and then and been watching the coverage of the new Halo game, and I basically summarized my thoughts, and it's like it's apparently some sort of weird blend of the Blam engine and Unreal, and some Microsoft shitters probably just like, oh, what? You guys don't own no PCs? Hurt. Um, the third person mode that they showed off looks like a fucking fan mod. Like the camera is absolutely static. There's no way to actually like pan around your character as you're doing stuff. It's like you're just basically taking the camera and you're moving it backwards. So um, thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to, I don't know. I'm just trying to be myself. I think that's what the world is lacking a lot these days, which is just, creators being authentic to themselves and, their, how they think and how they feel. And I'm in a position that I'm lucky enough um, to do this and to bring this content to you guys. I'm super lucky that you guys are receptive to it and all that stuff. So this is great. This actually makes me feel fantastic. I'm really happy and excited about this. So I'm hoping to do more of this, and barring other complications, should be able to do it for the foreseeable future as far as streaming and whatnot. So um yeah, just kind of wrapping stuff up a little bit, just kind of covering stuff that I talked about on my page that maybe I didn't talk about here. Is touched on the campaign evolved and how they made Cortana. It's like, oh, have you seen the new Cortana? No, I haven't. What's wrong? Oh my god! Absolutely mogging. Damn it! My pronouns are he, him. Sometimes these are. It depends on the day. Depends on my pronouns depend on who I'm trolling, actually. But yeah. Anyway, so we have Cortana looking like she's on the clavicular doing meth and bone smashing technique. I didn't know you could bone smash as an AI, but Halo. Um, and then I had my rant about just the nature of the way that games are being shitified uh, by kind of these people that think that the pickup game, the casual pickup game, should be a tournament prep game, which is stupid. I hate that thought process. It's so goddamn inorganic, especially with a game like 40K, where you have, and to a lesser extent, Warhammer 30K, the Horse Heresy game, or even like Age of Sigmar, especially not a good day to work for either D&D or Paizo. No, yeah, this is. I can't even imagine trying to just be like a normal dude working at D&D, and they're just like, some HR Karen comes up to you and is like, "Excuse me, hey Banzai, I noticed that everybody's putting their pronouns and their signature in their email, and it's making people confused and uncomfortable because they don't know how to address you." Well, I am I'm male. I identify as male, so you can just call me he him. Okay, that's great, but you need to let everybody know. You need to put that in the signature of your email. Jesus Christ. Okay, lady. Get off my back. I'll drink the Kool-Aid if it means you'll fuck off for another month and a half. So, um, but yeah, but anyway, so going back to this weird mindset with game companies where like a pickup game has to be like tournament prep. Like, nah, dude, I just want to play the fucking game. I want to throw some dice. I came up with this stupid jank list because I thought it was hilarious, and I bought the miniatures and I painted them for it. I just want to play my game. Don't be like, don't be making me having to flop cards and set out, measure precisely. It's like, no, dude. It's like, yeah, get some terrain, get some objectives, put them 12 inches from keep them 12 inches away from the corner, keep them, 6 inches away from each other, you know, lay out the train however you want, just fucking roll dice. Like this is like the fact that terrain is so prescriptive lately is really odd to me. And it's really inorganic, and I think it has killed a lot of gaming creativity, especially when like you remember like the old third edition Warhammer 40,000, where they actually told you how to make like alien plants out of like styrofoam balls and toothpicks, and then you coated them with like Mod Podge so they wouldn't get dissolved by the spray paint. And you would spray it with some texture paint. And you would paint it fucking goblin green and paint the cocktail sticks or the toothpicks um bright red, and there you go. You have your alien plant. Jason, yeah, that's sometimes I'll do that. Like if it's just like if it's a local scene with like a bunch of guys kind of doing like a kind of like a couple of Dutch rounds. Like I'll just throw some bullshit together and I'll just go and troll people. Um, so but again, it's like Gold Topper B. um, but it's like I even like BattleTech, and this is going to be controversial, or maybe it's not, because every time I've said it, people go, "Oh, damn, you're right." BattleTech is a tabletop RPG, a role playing game system, wearing the skin of a tabletop war game. If you look at that, if you analyze the game from that perspective, it makes a lot more sense. Now, Alpha Strike, I'm a big proponent of Alpha Strike. A lot of people don't like Alpha Strike because it's not as granular. The mech's specific abilities don't stand out as much. Their loadouts don't stand out as much. But god damn it, is it fun to get a company on company game done in under an hour and a half? Like that is just really nice. So um, and it's funny too because Alpha Strike is actually, ironically, very much like in that old vein of like, hey, here's your objectives, you know, pick whatever train, go for it, just take it. Yeah, because it's simulator game. Because it's a simulator game. Because I need to know the weather and direction of the sun time of year. Yeah, so that's exactly right, Gavin. Because but with Elf Strike, it's like, hey, set up the train in a mutually agreeable fashion. Here's your objectives. Here's your deployment zone. Go for it. Um, and that game is so much fun when you've got a good opponent and a decent set of terrain to pick from. But then you have games that are like way too completely on the other side of like kind of more towards the simulative side, like BattleTech is. Like, I tried to read Fistful of Toes 3. Like, if you've ever read that book, it will make your fucking brain melt. Like, I have read really complicated documents and technical documents and specifications, and I'm reading all the stuff. I could not decipher that goddamn rule book. I was lost. It was really hard. I've wanted to play Clash of Steel Gambit, but I haven't. I've never gotten a chance to take a crack at it. One of the stores near me, they specialize in historical stuff, and they actually do have a bunch of Clash of Steel stuff. It doesn't look like it's very expensive to get into either, so I might give that. I might give that a bash at some point. But yeah, it's just tabletop games should be an exercise in fun and not an exercise in tournament prep. I think I feel like at least here in the United States, that trend started with games like X-Wing, uh, Armada, Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars Armada, and Star Wars Legion. Now, Legion, ironically, that game, it's like they're much more free about their objectives. It's like, hey, objective here, objective here, objective here, and then you do all the setup. The only thing I don't like about that game is the amount of bullshit that you have to like put that you had to put all over all over kind of your sideboard, to where it's like you have like no like admin space anymore, because everything is being taken up by like fucking cards. So I was not a big fan. I'm not a fan of the way that works. Game with an objective that danced around the map. It was super fun. We had one of the last a game I played a while ago actually. Um, it was he called it mech rugby. Basically, there was an objective that was like basically like a civilian size of a civilian car, and you had to have a mech with one free hand to pick it up. And if a mech got hit in close combat or failed a pilot check, you would drop the objective, and then another guy would try to pick it up and then run it back to his line. So that was a lot of fun. Card thing is fantasy flight thing, yeah. It's more like that's one of the things I've noticed with Western game design, at least here in the United States and in Canada, is that like for example, a game that I actually still really like, that I still think is really exceptional, is a Song of Ice and Fire tabletop miniatures game. That actually has card play mechanic to it, but that's because you have a hand of cards. But they do this thing where they do a seasonal rebalance, because again, every game is kind of prepped for a tournament game. So every gameplay season, I think they run like one season a year, two seasons a year, or something like that. You have to either fucking print new cards and sleeve them, or you got to buy new cards. And it's just like, damn, I hate trying to keep up with this because I don't have easy access to a printer, right? um so that's kind of, and it's like there's really, they have an app, but you would think they would have like a card draw app where you could just say, okay, this is my this you the app constructs your card deck for you, and then you can just say, okay, this is my hand of cards, this I'm going to discard, and this, that, and the other thing. So but they haven't figured that out yet, apparently. So for me personally, I think the cards are good for quick references. I don't think they should be tied to gameplay, because then it just becomes this exercise of having to replace the cards every fucking time there's a balance patch, which is basically what Warhammer 40K has been doing. Is they've been doing their they call them balance data slates, because of course they are. um so they're just kind of, and it's just kind of like miserable to try to keep up with the game as like a competitive thing, and I just don't understand why people do it. And you have this bullshit, and of course, people that didn't understand what I was saying when I'm like, "Yes, Daddy GW, give me some more L-shaped terrain." It's like, yeah, fleecing, exactly. Um, because people are like, "Well, you can put anything you want on it." It's like, bro, my brother in Christ, go to LVO, go to any other tournament. What's the main thing that you see on those goddamn tables? It's L-shaped ruins. You know, never see any craters. You don't see any forests. You don't see any like legitimate area terrain. Does anybody remember area terrain like a forest or like a small wood or like a crop field or anything like that? Do you remember? I remember. So, and the fact that and it's not just that they kind of are doing the boring rectangles for it because there's like you can put anything on you want on top of it, and so I'm like, oh yes, yes, absolutely. So I can put a forest right on top of these fucking ruined buildings. Perfect. Are you stupid? Ugh. And then of course, you look at the way the missions are set up. You need to own this terrain set to play the goddamn missions because you actually have to like. There's actually a prescribed distance and way that they have set up those buildings and missions. And it's like, come on, man. You know this shit's going to change the first balance slate. You know you're going to change this thing 6 months from now. You know somebody's going to have to either buy refresh cards or use a fucking Sharpie. Stop it. Get some help. So you have that. I watched heavy metal and I thought that was for some reason this popped off. I have no idea why. I have no idea why this meme popped off. Like Diogenes saying it's a featherless biped makes no goddamn sense. So I don't know. But yeah, and then people are like, "Oh, that's actually not a lot. That's not a lot for what you're getting in the box." It's like, bro, you're getting the miniatures and the rule books, and that's fucking it. The Leviathan starter set was like what? It was like 225. I think the biggest version that they had, the launch box, was like 225 or 250, and you got like a full set of terrain on it. Like you didn't even get terrain in this one. You don't even get the little pissant templates. You gotta buy the so you shell out, you buy this, 295 plus tax, and then GW is like, more money, please. It's like, come on, man. What are we doing? So yeah, so this Cortana, and then of course the brain trust at you know that that love the GW stuff. Yeah, Ryan, that's as far as the Timkovichi goes tonight. I Somebody else donated $10 to me, so I've got another chapter to read for next week. I'm going to pick this back up on Wednesday night. Uh, so I'm definitely going to read, see if I can't expand more on this. So shuffle the map up and randomly place the terrain pieces. Damn, randomly generate terrain. You know what's funny? People, I've known people that buy the Heroscape stuff and they keep the terrain and they're just like, hey, here's the cards and the miniatures for this game that fucking nobody plays. I'm just buying this for the hex terrain and the cool terrain. And that's what people do is they take like a blank hey man, Ko-Fi link is in the description. So 10 bucks a chapter, I think. So um I don't know. I might do two chapters for 10 bucks because I feel like that's way too little. So forever annoying me that people in GW first thing people see when they get in tabletop is scary them. Yeah, exactly. Like with for all the faults that Catalyst is has perpetrated against BattleTech currently, one of the good things that they haven't done is the miniatures are pricey, but they're not that pricey. And if you don't want to buy the books, um, oh God, how much money to read Hungry Like a Wolf? Phew. Can I get back to you on that? That might be a tall fucking order because I don't think. But that one might be easier to get because I won't have to buy a physical copy of it. So, oh, I'm just thinking of fucking big chinned Alric Ward just bumping and grinding on some free birth. $100 million. Yeah. Um, but yeah, kind of. So yeah, it's like the first thing that most people see when they go into a game store these days is like, it's like, hey, GW, blah blah blah. It's the most popular game. It's like, yeah, but it's expensive shit. And then it's like, oh, do you want a combat patrol? And it's like, oh, that's $170. That seems like a lot. That's because it is. It's like, well, this is an army, right? Like, no, this is like one quarter of an army, if that. So, so it's like, okay, so I got to do this. So I got to spend $400 or $500 to buy it. If I'm extremely frugal and do secondary market stuff, it's like $400 or $500. So I don't know, just it just seems stupid to me. So yeah, exactly. But even with the Lance pack, if you just buy this is one of the things that I will give Catalyst credit for, because I try to call balls and strikes here, right? So I think the Alpha Strike starter set is really exceptional. I think it's a great starter product. I think Game of Armored Combat is a great starter product. I think I feel like Snowblind is going to be another excellent product, box set product. I think that the next set that we're getting after that is the actual new core box. I'm sure that will be great. I'm skeptical on that one because let's see if I can find what it's got in it, because I wrote a post about this a while back, and I was shocked at how much high tech stuff was in it, because I'm like, that just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Let's see. So this is GW stuff. This is uh, yeah. Catalyst doesn't even talk about their Kickstarters anymore. They just look at you like this. I don't know why that made me laugh when I posted it, but it did. So, um, let's see. Yeah, here we go. So this is probably like Ill Clan era stuff, but ironically, we're getting a lot of FedCom Civil War, late clan invasion stuff. Yeah, the new intro box is like I don't even know where to start with this, because the solitaire, the Rakshasa, I think that's a Regent B or a Regent A. I think that's a Regent A. An Uziel, an Eris, Madcap Mark IV, a Hollander. The Hollander was kind of that was the one that threw me for a loop, because I'm like, that's weird. Why would you do that? Why would you include a Hollander too? Or Hollander? So I don't know. It just seems like an odd set of choice. Oh, the two new this one, the uh the new starter box. See you, Gambit. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, this is the new starter. Yeah, so this is the new starter box, and it's a Contio and I think that's Contio. Yeah, that's what it is. And then the Hammerhead, and the Hollander is 40-ton mech, 45 tons, I think, because they were trying to riff off of, or is it 35 tons? I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I had any reason to look up the Hollander. Um, but I thought the starter box, this is the one I'm most skeptical about, because I'm like, okay, so you have a mech with claws, you have a mech with advanced weapons, internal structure. Um, I believe it has stealth armor as well and ECM. And then you have it versus a mech with actuator enhancement systems in the legs and heavy armor. And it's like, that's a lot for a player to get to grips with. And I think the copium that people were huffing was like, hey, this is to get people used to. That's right. That's what I was forgetting. It's a triple strength myomer. So you have all these things that make the mech work better that you have to use in order to get the most out of it. And people were like, "Well, you won't be able to use that because this is just a starter box, and the starter record sheets won't have that." It's like, well, dude, this is uneven. This is absolutely an uneven matchup. That hammerhead will eat a Contio alive if the Contio isn't able to do all of its fancy dancy, stealth armor, stealth TSM bullshit. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that irons itself out. And then you have, and of course, instead of Total Warfare, you have BattleTech Core Book. So, for example, BattleTech Total Warfare. So instead of this image right here, right? Let's see. I can get a good picture of it. So instead of this, right? This, I ripped a mech's head off and it looks like I'm playing with my toy soldiers on the floor, right? And then you have this Total Warfare. Look at this absolute beautiful piece of art. I know the resolution is crap, but um, you know, but it's like it's the study and contrast between people that kind of know the product. Hell, even the new art for the where the Atlas is cockpit shotting a smoke jaguar warrior. Like even that art is way better than this. So move all the non-mech stuff to battlefield support cards. I feel like that's going to be the default way to play vehicles and infantry in the core this new core rule book. This which I'm not a fan of because that while although it does put the mechs front and center, it also makes the vehicles and infantry way less important and impactful. So I would say keep that the way it is. But if you're going for like a speed of play thing, you want to include vehicles and infantry. I think absolutely the core support rules would work. So um yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. More or less what I've got to say. Um yeah, so I don't know. Interesting times ahead for BattleTech. I'm keeping an eye on everything, and I really want to thank you guys for coming in, sharing your time with me this evening. Um, if you thought this was useful, if you thought this was good, if you enjoyed this, you want to see more, uh, you know, consider supporting me. My Ko-fi link in the description. Again, thank you so much. You guys are really fantastic group. I couldn't ask for a better bunch of followers and fans. So this is going to be the stream is going to be VOD'd. So if you're just coming in, or if you weren't able to catch the whole thing, you can actually go in and watch that and enjoy that. And I'm going to be creating a specific playlist for these types of chats, and I think I'm going to try to bring back the INR streams, the intelligence and reconnaissance streams that talks about, not just BattleTech, but other games and whatever else is happening in kind of the games, the miniature hobby sphere. I think I'm going to try to bring that back as well, maybe on Wednesdays, and then Thursdays I can do this, or I can blend the two. I don't know. This is all still early days, but again, I'm going to call it quits. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done, the support that you've shown me, the love that you guys have shown me. Um, I'm grateful, and my gratitude is never ending for you guys for having such great bunch of people on my side of the fence. So we appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate it. Spread the word if you like this. Like, share the video. Um, do all the I hate doing the calls to action stuff because I'm terrible at self promotion. But please, like, share, subscribe, all those pleasantries, and let people know I'm doing this, and maybe they'll find me organically. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.